We all know that plants can be extremely annoying to deal with, from the weeds in your yard to trees uprooting your driveway, or there's all sorts of issues. If you've never had any issues with plants, you're incredibly lucky. But kids would often dream of having things such as a tree house or an outdoor shelter of some sort, which is some sort of perfect example of how we can integrate nature into a functional living space that both sides are benefiting from. You don't have to care about our environment or tree houses to take advantage of the benefits that plants have in our construction. Hi, I'm Jade, and I'm here to inform you about the ways that plants are useful to add to our urban living spaces. So these plants have a lot of general benefits on our mood. I have two different sources that tend to prove this. The first one is by Nicole van den Bogaard, and it was from the Netherlands and Vrije Universiteit. In 2021, he proposed the Journal of Environmental Psychology and was studying specifically potted plants and their effect on mood and study success with and without the pot plants. And as you can see here, building A was the suggested study without the plants, and building B was the same study room with all the potted plants added. And this study showed that the presence of potted plants was positively associated with study room attractiveness. People in the study who chose to give reasons why they would not come back. There was 105 students that chose to, and of those 105, 76 said that they would come back because they said that it was relaxing, it had a homey vibe, and that the aesthetic was just better and in the planted rooms. And 29 that did say they did not want to come back just said it was because they didn't particularly notice the plants having any different, or they felt that they had no value. My second source is from during the coronavirus pandemic in China. In 2022, a post was made by International Journal of Low Carbon Tech showing findings of anxiety decreasing during isolation with people that had potted plants. You can see that it decreased by about 61% in releasing certain anxieties about isolation. And this, I thought it was interesting that they showed the actual questionnaire that they had, because you could almost take it yourself, and that's really cool. And these benefits are not only from mental health, they're also likely just physical outcomes making you feel better mentally, because these plants offer the services of adding more oxygen to your air, filtrating air of harmful air compounds and VOCs, volatile organic compounds, and they provide a lot of natural filtration, which can boost one's mental state, which is a good amount of benefit to consider when you're designing an indoor living space. And there are many more complex and interesting ways architects of the past have used plants to even make a self-fixing bridge. So tree bridges were made in India, and I learned about these from my Botany 1 class, and I thought that they were incredibly interesting. Some video from the class provided us with these wonderful images here of fig trees in India that are functioning, and they can hold thousands of people per day. Tourists will come far and wide to see them, and they're really essential for small villages. Katie Hunt's CNN Service article in 2019 backs this up, and she says that these trees can grow up to 50 meters and last hundreds of years. And these trees are a great way for us to develop green cities. We could use these trees to help us shade and green cities in certain areas as a benefit to cool our area to cope with the rising temperatures on our planet. And the tree bridges are an interesting solution for villagers in India who have to live in these dangerous landscapes. However, not everyone lives in a useful region for the development of these. So we'll talk about how cities have more common and new innovative resources using plants that have been improved on in recent years. So there's a lot of urban uses for plants. A lot of people will do vertical plant architecture. That's when people plant hydroponic plants along walls, and they'll do that because the space isn't used and the plants grow very nicely and can even be used with your water ducts. Burkhasser, a leading international publishing of architecture, landscaping, and design, posted many functions in a publication called Living Systems in 2007. And here are a lot of examples of these systems. And one such example was the firescape that was proposed in 1890, and it was an old decommissioned firescape that was proposed that could offer a place for exotic plants to be planted, and it would preserve some dwindling plant species. And so there are these indoor green walls, or even outdoor green walls, and they can be modulated so that you can easily replace and maintain each tile. And in these green walls, you can add these indoor green wall air biofilters, which is basically just an antibacteria plant that has little microbes that kill the bacteria, and it will suck in air mechanically, but the air will be cleaned out from all of the harmful bacteria or any potential chemicals in the air, which is very interesting. And something I recently found out, engineers at MIT proposed an idea for these bioluminescent plants to be used as a way to light up our cities, and in 2017 they originally proposed this. However, in 2021, they just posted the next gen of glowing plants, and they developed a very efficient glowing plant that was up to 10 times brighter than their first generation. Kennedy, a professor at MIT, shows how plants might replace our current unsustainable electrical lighting grid for the benefit of all plant-dependent species. And I don't know about you, but lower electricity bills and glowing houseplants sounds like a very big deal to me. In conclusion, we can learn that there are many benefits of keeping plants around that we should keep, that architects can keep in mind when designing new landscaping. The expansion of people is inevitable, but keeping these living flora can provide a service to both our environments by preserving biodiversity and people by providing all these services that one would not normally think about when thinking about plants. That's all. Thank you.